Hey y'all, what's going on? This is Jesse Both in the 19th hole, and I've got the Pro and Expert guide here for you all today. This is for the upcoming City of Light tournament that is going to take place on the Parc de Paris course. And we're going to talk about holes 1 through 9. We're going to talk about the different ways you can play these holes in the Pro and the Expert division. We'll talk about club, ball usage, and also elevation changes that you will see on these holes during the course. Once again, this tournament will start on Monday, September 16th, which is going to be this coming Monday, and that's when qualification will kick off. So we'll go ahead and get started here in just a second. Alright y'all, so we got hole number 1 to begin here. Several different ways to play this hole. I think in Pro and the Expert, the main way you're going to see people playing this hole is up the middle. I think that's going to give you the best chance of getting the eagle. So let's go ahead and talk about that shot here for just a moment. The drive is going to be played with plus 10% elevation. So you're going to add an extra 10% to whatever your wind amount is. So for this drive here, it really makes a difference on what driver you use. You do want to use a driver that has a good amount of topspin. I would say at least 5 to 6 bars of topspin. So here we're talking about Thors, we're talking about Apox, and like higher level extra miles would definitely work for this shot. You're probably going to need to use a power 3 ball, like a Titan ball, and that's what I would suggest using. So you're going to use your topspin, you're going to bounce at the end of this first fairway over the bunker and the rough, and you're actually going to land your second bounce in the rough and then roll your shot out onto the fairway. You want to aim to end in this area right here, and that's going to give you, a minimum long iron or maximum wedge shot to the hole. So for your second shot, you're playing your shot over this bunker, and you're trying to find a really nice landing spot there, to get that nice ball guide to go into the hole. It doesn't take much to make that shot work, and there is kind of like a small funnel that you can find to make that shot a little bit easier. So definitely, 0% is what I would say adjustment-wise for that second shot. So 10% on the first shot and 0% on the second shot. So that is going to be your path going to the middle. Playing it to the right side, you'll also play a plus 10%, where you'll be landing your shot here towards the front edge of this fairway and trying to, roll your shot up here towards this upper left edge, left area. From there, your second shot will be a 0% shot again, and you're going to be playing it with your long iron. You're going to be playing the bounce just like you're playing in the rookie, where you're going to bounce it off this fairway over the bunker and the rough, and then you want to kind of line that shot up as best as you can towards the hole. We'll not be using a lot of spin with that shot. The only time you're really going to have to worry about the spin is if you have like a crosswind, then you lose just like a little bit of top spin, like maybe a half a bar or barely that, or if you have a headwind, they're going to use a little bit extra top spin as well if you have a headwind. But I think the main way of playing this hole is going to be up the middle, and I think it's one of those holes where right off the bat you really got to take that risk to try to get yourself in position for that eagle. Worst comes to worst, you miss the eagle chip and you still have a birdie. But definitely I think this is a hole that we need to start off the tournament by dropping, and it can definitely help put your round on course to achieve a really good score. So let's talk about hole number 2 next. This is a par 3 that we have not really seen a whole lot of times. We had it in the Metro Open tournament, and it was in I think Tour 4 for a little while, and then they changed it out. So unless you've been playing in the higher level tours, you have not really had much of a chance to play this hole, especially in the from the second tee. So the way I'm going to be playing this hole, I think plus 20% is going to be the correct elevation adjustment for this hole. So that would be an additional 20% added onto whatever wind speed you get. And depending on what kind of wind we have will definitely determine the club we use. It's either going to be a long iron, which I would suggest a Goliath, or a sniper. The landing area is going to be pretty consistent, and it really depends on what kind of wind direction we have, which is going to tell us what kind of club we use. I want to say in the Metro Open I used the Goliath. We had a tailwind, so I actually was adjusting, back, and that was fine. If you have a side wind or a headwind, then that's going to kind of give you an option to either go with the Goliath or the sniper. Just going to depend a little bit on the landing zone. So if you go with the sniper, you may have to land that shot a little bit farther up than that circle, but you will be using backspin. You're going to be using somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 to 4 bars of backspin, depending on the shot and the club and the wind. And then you're also going to be using right spin as well to kind of direct that shot towards the hole. Don't forget, you are going to be playing a plus 20% elevation change on that shot as well. And definitely pay attention to the type of wind that you have, because extended and compressed ball guides will come into play here on this hole. So if you have extended tailwind ball guide, then you're going to be aiming your shot closer to the edge of the rough line over the bunker. But if you have a compressed ball guide with a headwind, then you're going to be aiming your shot a little bit farther past in expectation that that wind is actually going to push your ball back a little bit towards that rough line. Hopefully that makes sense, but it's definitely something to think about and remember when we are trying to figure out how to play this hole on Monday. There's always chances of a little rough bump here if we have the perfect wind, and that would be a great sniper shot to play, and that may be an opportunity to pull out like a wind ball and really lower that wind speed and try to go for it that way. And I've also seen people playing shots off this right fairway as well, with lots of left spin and backspin, trying to play the shot into the hole that way. I don't feel like those are the best approaches to this hole, but they're definitely options and possibilities. Hole number 3 here. This is definitely a hole that a lot of people do not look forward to. You have first the option to play the regular skip shot, where you take your driver with topspin. I would play a plus 20% here for that shot. With topspin, try to hop it over the bunker and the rough. You'd hit in this little narrow neck area of the fairway, and then try to just roll it up the fairway as best as you can. That right there will leave you a second shot with a big dog or cataclysm with topspin and right spin to get it to the hole for a possible albatross, but definitely pretty good chance at the eagle. Definitely would recommend at least a kingmaker ball at minimum for this hole for sure. And if you're going to play it that way, you're going to be playing it with a wood club that gives you a ton of distance. Now, if you're going to play it a little bit more of an aggressive type of line, there are some other options for you as well. You can always play with the berserker ball and try to just blast it over to land in this zone here, and then get you a nice kick up the fairway as well. That right there will put you in position to play a sniper or a guardian shot at the hole if you do decide to play it that way. And if you can really figure out this hole, there is a little bit of a funnel with a guardian. If you go with full backspin, you can go up that funnel just past the hole to the left, and then backspin it back into the hole. And that was definitely something that a lot of people were doing in the last tournament that we had this hole. In fact, I did it on the hole 18 of the weekend round to actually take second place in one of my accounts. So that was a pretty exciting moment. There is the power curl shot here that you can also play as well, where you go with the quarterback or a Thor, and you're lining your shot up to land in this zone right here, and you're just kind of using that power curl effect to hit and then bounce your shot up the fairway. That's definitely another great option to play. If you want to figure out the numbers for that power curl shot and your driver that you do use, you go to golfclashnotebook.io. They do have a chart there that tells you what ring adjustment is needed per the driver that you have. We'll just use like an example. The Thor 5 is like 15 rings. So you would aim your shot to this section right here. You would make your adjustment for the wind, and you'd go an additional 15 rings to the right on your adjustment, and that usually puts your shot somewhere over in here, you know, the target somewhere over in here, and you just do full overpower, full curl, and full hook. There is also one other way you can play this shot, is just a straight up APOC shot, where you're landing your shot right in here, and you're using full top spin and some left spin, and you're just using your plain curl. It's not a shot where it requires you to use overpower or anything. It's just a straight up hook shot, and that's what I used in the last tournament, and that got me very far up the fairway and put me in really good position for that guardian shot towards the hole. And you know, depending on the wind, you may have to kind of fudge around a little bit with the ball selection, you know, to get your shot with enough power to make a landing safely in those different locations. So it's definitely a very complex hole. Lots of different ways you can play this one, but just remember, plus 20% for the first shot, and then the second shot is minus 5%. If you're landing it in somewhere in this zone right here. Okay, minus 5%. Hole number 4, par 3. Another hole that we have not seen a whole lot, but the way to play this hole is going to be plus 20% off the tee box for all different ways. You can either play it to land it in this zone right here, or you can play it to land closer up to the fringe. Of course, playing it closer to the fringe is going to require you to play a shot with a good amount of backspin. If you want to play the shot farther back, you're going to be playing most likely with, I would say, a sniper, and you're going to be using, you know, some backspin and a good amount of right spin to direct your shot over this bunker, land it right there near the edge fringe of the green, and then roll it to the hole. The plus 20% adjustment, though, is key for this shot. Definitely, there could be a possibility of some sort of a rough bump, possibly in the pro or the expert, really depending on what kind of wind that we have. If it's a wind that you know, adjusts our shot up the rough or down the rough, it makes it a much safer shot to play. In which case, there you would want to be playing with, you know, with a club that has a good amount of ball guide to it. So I would definitely probably say the sniper. All right, hole number 5 is next, and this is definitely an interesting hole. I've always liked this hole. 2 ways to play it, but you're going to see most people play it one way. Plus 10% off the tee box, and the way that you're going to see most people play this shot are going to be with, you know, a katana or kingmaker ball, or even a special ball. You're bouncing it over the water and the rough, land it right here, and then you're going to take your shot up the fairway, up to this area. I like to try to get somewhere in the area of the edge of that shade area right there, that shadow. From there, you have a thorn or hornet shot to the green, where you can either go with like 2 or 3 bars of backspin and bring it in from the front, or you can play a backspin shot where you do try to use full backspin and then back the shot back up into the hole. So that second shot is also plus 10%. You can also play this shot to the left side, depending on what kind of wind we have. And if you're going to play the shot to the left side, you're going to be bouncing over the rough, bouncing there, and then you want to roll your shot up as far as you can to the front left edge of that fairway. From there, you're going to have a second shot off of this little fairway pad and towards the hole, possibly eagle right there. I still think the best chance of the eagle is playing it to the right side. Now, in the expert, if we get some sort of crazy tailwind, there may definitely be an opportunity with an APOC and a berserker ball to fly all the way over, you know, to the fairway, and figure out some sort of a hop shot to try to get almost like directly to the green. It's been used in the past, so we'll just have to wait and see what kind of shots are made available for that for this hole come Monday. All right. Next hole is hole number 6. This hole right here, I would say plus 10% off the tee box. And you're going to be playing your shot off this fairway over the rough, laying it over here, and then trying to roll up the fairway as best as you can. And that's going to give you your best second shot toward the green. As far as the ball goes here, at least a katana ball. If you're playing in the pro or the expert, then you may want to consider going with a kingmaker ball. That may be a good ball to use, or even a Titan ball as well. You want to bring your sniper for the second shot, or your big dog, or even a cataclysm if you do have a cataclysm card as well. For your second shot, we're going to play 0% for our elevation change. And the options you have is to either play to the right side or to the left side. If you're going to play it to the right side, you're going to be playing it with a club that has a pretty good amount of curl. You're going to have to use a lot of left spin, and you're going to have to use some top spin to get your shot up and over this this rough section here. So you'll bounce over, you hit the fairway, and then you're going to use the contour of the green to roll up and then back down towards the hole. If you are playing it to the left side, which I think is the best possible way, you're going to be playing it to somewhere in the middle of this shadow area with some right spin and not a lot of top spin, possibly even some back spin, because you want your shot to go up to the top of this little ridge on the left side of the green and then just fall back down towards the hole. It's a very precise touch shot to get the albatross there. There is also a rough bump through these trees in this rough towards the hole. That is possible. It's not a shot that I've ever really figured out, but I have seen people do it. You just have to be very careful to hit the correct window for that rough shot, and make sure you don't hit the trees and then fall down into the bunker that is around that tree as well. But yeah, 0% for the second shot. Hole number 7 here, par 4. You can either play a layup shot to the right hand side here. I would just say go with some sort of an accuracy driver like the rock or the quarterback, even possibly a wood depending on the wind. You're really just trying to lay your shot up though into this section right here. For your second shot, I'd play it plus 10% for the first shot, no matter what, if you're going to the left or to the right. But for the second shot, you're trying to play your shot towards the green, and you want your third bounce with your long iron to be, that's 1, 2, and then your third bounce to be right there on the fringe, just to give that shot a chance to roll off to the green. You're not going to be using a lot of spin on this shot, but you will be playing a plus 10% adjustment. So spin accordingly to what you need for that shot. You do want that third bounce though to be right there along the fringe. Now playing it to the left side is a chance at a power curl shot. You'll be laying your shot somewhere in this zone right here with top spin and left spin. Your ball will go over the rough and then bounce up the fairway, hopefully to this section of the fairway. Now, in order to make that shot possible, you do need a club that has a good amount of curl and also a good amount of top spin as well for that shot. So definitely keep that in mind. If you're able to get to that position right here, you do want to make sure you do be very mindful that too much topspin can put you through the fairway and into that rough. For your second shot, you're going to be looking at a wedge or maybe a min-range iron and short iron, and it's definitely a very possible shot to make playing it from over there. For the second shot, just like on the other side, plus 10% is going to be your elevation adjustment. So in order to make that shot to the left, you do want to make sure that you do have a good wind. And when I say a good wind, it needs to be some sort of a side wind with tail in it, or a good tailwind. The last tournament we had right to left kind of wind. It was kind of pointed in this direction, and it was possible to make the shot, but you did have to have higher level clubs like APOC 4, 5, extra mile, 8 to make the shot possible. Alright, so we got hole number 8 here. This is a par 3. A couple different ways to play this hole. First off, plus 10% is going to be your elevation adjustment for this shot. As far as the ball goes, I would say at least the Kingmaker. You may also keep in mind that you could possibly use a wind ball as well for this hole to cut down on the wind, especially once you start getting into a little bit higher winds in the Expert. As far as the clubs go, you know, the first shot we're going to talk about is this shot closer up here towards the green. It is a wood shot, and it's going to require at least 5 bars of backspin. So that means if you don't have a sniper that's got enough backspin, then you will have to use the Guardian. And that will just be a shot that uses a lot of backspin and tries to just, you know, really go at that hole. You may want to play some sort of a little bit of an offset, depending on what kind of a wind you have as well on this hole. Last time we had this hole and I played a shot similar to it, it ended up putting my sniper at about mid distance. So at mid plus 10, I was able just to play a 1-to-1 adjustment on the shot, which actually ended up working out really well for adjustment purposes. Another shot that you could possibly play is a shot a little bit farther back in the fairway with the sniper, and it's going to come in right here. It's going to bounce in here off the slope here and then up towards the hole. This is another shot that we had in the previous tournament where we had to kind of offset the shot just a little bit and kind of work around to figure that out. You're going to use backspin, and then you're going to use some right spin as well to kind of get you to that specific spot that you want to be for that offset in that shot. Definitely a really interesting hole, but a very difficult hole to really master, I would say, consistently master, because keep in mind, while you're playing this hole, you know, everything right here is a slope. So if you can't consistently hit the exact same spot every time, there's no, you know, guarantee that your shot is going to behave in the same fashion. That's one good thing about playing the shot a little bit farther up here, is that's a little bit more of a flatter area of the fairway, so you can kind of figure out and try to get a little bit more of a consistent bounce right there. But I still felt that playing it farther back in the fairway in this position gave me the best chance the last tournament to go after the ace, and we actually did hit it a few times, and there were several other people that did as well. Alright, last hole, hole number 9, and to me, this is pretty much a no-brainer on this hole, unless Playdemic comes out of nowhere and gives us some like really crazy wind. I think, you know, I think we've all got to play this shot to the right side. So I would definitely suggest at least a power 3 ball for sure, and maybe even go up to a power 4 ball just to guarantee yourself get the eagle, because this is a hole where you have to get the eagle. So from the second tee here, we're still playing our shot to this spot right here, and then you're going to use some different spins, some left spin and some back spin depending on the wind, to kind of direct your shot to the top left-hand edge of this fairway. So from there, you want to make sure you have a decent club with distance and topspin. So Big Dog and Cataclysm are both going to be great options for this hole. You'll be aiming your shot through these trees. There is a little bit of an opening there. Coupled with topspin and right spin, you can kind of roll your shot out either to on the green or to along the edge of the green. And hopefully we can figure that shot out, because this is definitely, I think, must make eagle hole. This is not going to be a par 5 where you see albatrosses. You maybe see 1 or 2 people get really lucky and fortunate with the bounce or something, but this is definitely not going to be a hole that you get albatross on, and there are going to be people that get the birdie on this hole due to, you know, miss-hit drives or bad second shots. For the second shot, I play plus 10%. For the first shot, we're going with just 0% on the first shot. So, you know, you can play some sort of a power curl shot here off this island. It's been done in the past. I've actually done it in the past, where you try to land on this fairway and then roll up this fairway to that spot. From there, if you can figure it out, you will have a second shot towards the green. I don't feel like it's worth the risk of the drive to play the shot that way. and I don't think that it gives you an open enough shot for your second shot to risk the drive, in my opinion. What I'm saying is it doesn't increase your chances enough for an albatross to really push me to try to play it that way. I think I'll stick to playing it to the right side and playing it for the higher percentage eagle drop. So, alright y'all, thank you all very much for being here for this pro expert guide. Hopefully you all learned a thing or two. I know that it is not possible to practice these holes from the second tee for the pros or the experts. So if you want, I did put together a video of a pro refresher of the holes from previous tournaments where the Parc de Paris course was used, and you can watch me play my pro round 1 through 9 in that video. And the wins may not be as high as the expert, but still it's going to be the holes played from the same tees, so you kind of get a feel and an idea of what you're going to be facing on Monday, because those are holes that were tournament holes, so the wins are going to be more in line with what you will see in the tournament and not what you will see in tour play. I think that's one thing that people don't realize is tour play and tournament play, the winds are usually a lot more different. You know, in tour play you see a lot more side and headwinds. In tournament play you see a lot more tailwinds, helping for higher scoring. So sometimes it's good to practice tour play, but sometimes it honestly doesn't do a whole lot to help prepare you for a tournament, in my opinion. Alright, y'all, appreciate it. Check us out on Facebook, Golf Clash the 19th Hole. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please hit that subscription button. If you want to be alerted when I do release new videos or go live during the tournament, definitely set up those notifications to receive those messages and alerts. Appreciate y'all. Have a good day, and God bless. Also, please check out my friend Gio Viviani on his Golf Clash channel, Golf Clash Italy. You can find him on YouTube. Him and several other streamers stream from this channel, all different levels of content and tour play. If you want to check out Gio on Facebook, you can find him at the name you see in the logo. He does also post the links to his content through his Facebook as well.